they continue with the programming of perversion, but this time they are aiming in the use. A people, better said young people, also children and homosexuals. When I aggravated them, today they continue with the programming of perversion, but this time they are aiming in the use. A people, better said young people, also children and homosexuals. When I aggravated them, I usually called demeaning names, and one of them is referring to homosexuals. For me, all of this slaves are misfits, society haters, scumbags, etc. No, I don't have anything personal against them, homosexuals, but as my way to aggravate the slaves, and since they love to use children for the torture and stalking, street theater etc. Especially
overseas America's spy satellites acknowledge viewing images of child sexual abuse during polygraph examinations. This is so disturbing. At a symposium in 2016, Daniel Payne, a top Pentagon security official, said that when workers' computers were examined, the amount of child porn I see is just unbelievable. Is this something that is happening for whatever reason with more free
of voices, noises, and music directly into my mind to communicate with me in real time and at the speed of thought. And it also includes the manipulation of thoughts, emotions, and perceptions in the person's mind. Additionally, the targeting is all highly perverted and sexual, as well as destructive and violent. Recently, they even started
lots of pedophiles. It's disgusting. It's somebody trying to end who I am as a person. It's somebody trying to take over my mind, putting thoughts of pedophiles. It's disgusting things. You saw where I was going with that first word. Disgusting things that I don't even want to talk about because it makes me sick. I don't even like those words in my mind. But it is what it is. So I have no choice now but to acknowledge that there are people in
It wasn't just the mall, folks. One Alabama journalist claims that Moore was also banned from the YMCA for his inappropriate behavior of soliciting sex from young girls. And don't forget, he did that while he was assistant DA. The assistant DA.
Shot in the face. And it was an older guy. He was like really, really disgruntled and pissed off. Yeah, she's gonna get shot in the face. You know, sound like an angry ass old person. You know, then a couple of days later, a female said the same thing. Gonna get shot in the face. You know, stupid shit like that. But what I really noticed is with the Voice of Skull, it's a bunch of females. You know, and I'm like, bro, really? You're not a woman. What real woman would stalk another female or sit back and allow that to go on? You really think they think it's nothing wrong with them?
From this point, you know, if things still continues, then we can address it. But that's the way I approach him. And I told him, you know, I was in direct. I was like, if you left along with things that being said, you gave the green light. And I gave them, I left alone too. And then I gave them the green light. So I've learned my lesson too, that the boundaries, and you know, as a leader too, if you can just put the boundaries, it will help me, and you know, you can just put through the situation, and you know. You know, when they bring up the things to manipulate me to have, you know, sometimes I'm frustrated, but at the same time, it's like, you know, why not talk about it again? You know, what's wrong with me saying the same thing I've said before? because there'll be a time where I'll never be able to speak. Now, this is about the same thing I've talked about a while ago. I showed a picture and everything else before. There was this video that was on my YouTube. It was about like shooting guns and whatever. And there was this brother showing his sister for the first time, showing a gun, right? I passed by and you see, if you look at the thumbnail, it's kind of hard to tell immediately. She looks really young, but you don't know how young she is, right? Like, you know, late teen, early 20s. It's like between 17 to maybe 20. Something like that. Yeah, and so that thumbnail didn't help much, but they were like. I was watching the video and they were like stimulating me. Of course, they've done that toward like babies. So a kid like that is not going to be like the craziest because she could actually look more like an adult. And they'll start messing with me. I mean, it's like I couldn't tell her age. Like, is she like a young adult? Is she's like, well, like I can't exactly tell. She looks really young, and she looks actually very goofy, like childlike kind of person. And it's kind of sad they had to turn this girl into something sexual because she's not very like she's very childlike. She's very kid-like, and maybe the thumbnail might show like she's trying to be fierce in that picture, but the video you see how childlike she is and you can see the child in her, and so they were forcing me to have this sexual stimulation. I remember what they use is so they use whatever they can create to turn something into something sexual. They have the ability to make you perceive things as Mariana. You heard Mariana testimony where they manipulate your perception. They manipulate how you see things, how you perceive
of voices, noises, and music directly into my mind to communicate with me in real time and at the speed of thought. And it also includes the manipulation of thoughts, emotions, and perceptions in the person's mind. Additionally, the targeting is all highly perverted and sexual, as well as destructive and violent. Recently, they
things. They've done it so much with me. That's why I hate looking at anything where there's a child. They can force me to look at things in so many different ways. They can almost make you even create perception that even not there. So in this case, they will like try to make me look at this kid in a sexual way. They're doing something with her legs and try to create some things. Like it was just like, okay. You've done that to even younger kids. So her, who might even look like a young adult, it's not that impossible. Now, FYI, as I'm doing this, right, as I'm talking about this manipulation, do you understand that there's people right now in the hallways trying to make me subscribe to these things, right? I know they know their job is to make me subscribe to it. Now, before talking, right, you heard his testimonies of, first of all, this Roy Moore character that I keep bringing up. There's a man that when he was
It wasn't just the mall, folks. One Alabama journalist claims that Moore was also banned from the YMCA for his inappropriate behavior as soliciting sex from young girls. And don't forget, he did that while he was assistant DA. The assistant DA.
Younger in his 30s, he was picking up kids from the YMCA and everything else. And the reason why I bring that up is because if you hear the previous recording, you hear me talking to somebody. This is my old employer. I was recording those conversations because I knew something was going on. That was back in the a few years back, way before I even came to New York. And so I knew something was going off. And so the reason why these people don't like to talk about these men is because some reason, I don't know if the people who put me in this program ensure that they cannot say his name. I don't know exactly, but they are very timid when it comes to saying Roy Moore's name. A man that picked up kids, which is ironically, and also like is they like to call it unfair, but I call it fair because this reality, right? These people are creating a false reality. They're escaping from reality and creating this false reality, and this is a moment that shows me what's reality, right? And that's why I'm so thankful that I have this to look on to. I'm not. It's not fair that nothing's happening to him. I don't care about that because I know these people are not here to protect kids. I know what they're really here for. They're here to protect you, to not to manipulate you. As you can see, even speaking is becoming hard. Their job is to manipulate you into accepting this nastiness. And you, as a man or woman, you have to know who you are, because they're going to try to break you down. And then you have people in the hallways. People, I've shown the different blur pictures of people who are supposed to look at you.
Lots of pedophiles. Like, it's disgusting, disgusting, disgusting. It's somebody trying to end who I am as a person. It's somebody trying to take over my mind, putting thoughts of pedophiles. Like, it's disgusting, disgusting, disgusting things. You saw where I was going with that first word. Disgusting things that I don't even want to talk about because it makes me sick. I don't even like those words in my mind. But it is what it is. So I have no choice now but to acknowledge that there are people in.
It's like, oh, you're sick. Oh, you're this. You're that. Like, they gaslight you to accept these manipulations. You know it's not true, right? Now, this picture of this kid, right, is not like, listen. She can be a young adult. She can look like a young adult. You know, something where you kind of have to guess. There's babies, obvious babies. There's kids of all ages, like even much younger than her, that they've done this thing to, where it's just like obvious as ever that this is a kid. There is nothing that's childlike. They make me think of this square looking kid that they made me look at in a sexual way, and even now they still try to create these things. You could hear my neighbor saying, oh, she's wearing Daisy Duke. It's just disgusting, forcing me to make me look at this kid who's much okay, not maybe much younger, but obvious child, right? Obvious looking like nothing woman, but in my mind they try to create perception of sexual. It's so disgusting. So her, as fraudulent as it is, it's not the worst. They've done it to much younger, so they're gonna do it to older kids. So you can see that's the video. This is the picture I'm talking about. It's so disgusting. It's the life I have to live with. And then you have like perps that consist of even coworkers to that involves this manipulation, try to make you accept these things. Like, of course I know it's not me. I know this is not natural. This kid is just a kid. I can see, even if she's just a let's just say a 19-year-old or something. I'll look at her as a kid. Now, my mind right now, they try to force me to look at her, be sexually stimulated by this kid. And the thing is, this kid is very childlike. If you see the other videos, you see the thumbnail is like where she kind of poses a little bit, try to make herself a little bit more fierce, and they try to create a more like a perception of an adult. And she's trying, but in reality, like if you see the video, and that's why I have clips of you see more of a child. Now, that was just the beginning, right? This moment they stimulate me was disgusting, but then they start annoying me. It's like, how old is she? How old is she? How old is she? Obviously, I wasn't able to guess her age just by looking at her. I was like, she looked really young. I don't know how young. Is she a young adult? Is she just a teenage kid? Is she like, I couldn't tell. Now it's like I'm not gonna sleep until like they've figured that out. So I've tried to find pictures or whatever, and I found there's a picture of her, or not even picture, like information about her, and she has a Twitter. And this kid, you can see she's still in high school. She's a senior in high school. At least when I looked up, right? I think when this video came out, she was a senior in high school. And I'm like, okay, how old is she as a senior? Just so that all that ends. So, because they try to pressure you. And as I'm looking, there's a picture of her. She played basketball, right? Looking like from the back where she has a basketball uniform, and they're forcing me to have this perception of sexuality toward this kid. Now, there's not even much. She's not even dressed in a way that's like sexual. She's just wearing basketball shorts and